I can't hear you guys. You guys are muted. Nope, can't hear a word you're saying.
We can hear you.
Okay,
Now I can.
here is
Yeah,
Sarah changing, moving and shaking.
Okay, can you hear us, Aaron?
yes.
Good. Even better.
Okay, we got
Wait a
a
minute, what
delay
is it
going on,
showing?
so mute your computer. It's a delay. We're getting you about 10 seconds after you last spoke, 5 seconds, so. Speaker's off. Technology is really not our
What the
strong
heck?
suit here. Well, it's mine, but I don't have a computer.
Right, say something.
You gotta turn your speakers down.
It should be, you gotta turn it off.
The speakers should just go down. Say something, Aaron.
All right, and how's everyone doing this evening?
All right, I think we fixed it.
Yeah.
All right, we're
We're
good.
good. Okay.
Okay.
Please, don't let me
Well, we
embarrass
did.
We haven't started
We
down there yet. Yeah,
you should wait.
we should wait.
this. Anyway. There they are.
Started.
Okay, I think we're good.
Very good.
All right, what's the date today? September 30th. All right, welcome to the September 30th, Select Board meeting. Very quickly, I just want to remind people that, of course, if you're not watching, you're not going to hear this, but what the heck? There are two ways to view this now, which is incredible. One is cable, Verizon Channel 38, Comcast Channel 6, and now we are live streamed on YouTube. All you need to do is go to the website, go to the home page, and there'll be live meetings. Click on it, and the link is right there. So that only took 2.5 years, which I'm never gonna get back. Okay, ready to jump right into the agenda. Here we go. We have some announcements. Do you want to say them, Karen? You want me to?
I can say them if you'd like. So the
Say 'em.
first one is that we're gonna have a flu clinic run by the Town of Millis Board of Health. So at the Council on Aging on October 10th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's a clinic that's for 65 and older. It's the high dose flu vaccine, and there's a link to register. It's on the Facebook page, and we also have it on the website. And then here at the Veterans Memorial Building on October 12th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's for everybody. And so that's for 8+ basically, standard flu vaccine. And you can register for that as well. So we encourage you to do that if you are interested. And, sorry, I'm total out of order here. We also have at the Millis Public Library, they have something called Coffee Connections. That's going to be on Saturday, October 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can stop by and support the fall book sale. And they're going to have free coffee donated by New England Coffee. So anyone who's on duty can swing on by. Free raffle and door prizes and things for the kids. So go join them at the library. And I think that is it.
That's it for announcements. Very good. Okay.
I actually
Now we
have
have a-
one if I can.
Of course, you always have one. Go
I
ahead.
do. The fire department's having a fire prevention open house on Sunday, this Sunday, October 6th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Should be a lot of fun, family fun, good for kids. My Girl Scout troop will be there making bracelets. I know there's a stuffed animal clinic. There's a bunch of things going on at the fire department that day. So that'll be a great event too, this Sunday.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Erin. We're going to have a couple of votes. So you want to make a motion?
Sure.
Greg? You
No, I've got it.
the mo- You got them? Go ahead.
Sure. I move to close the November 19th, 2024 Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Number 2, Erin?
I move to open the November 19th, 2024 Special Town Meeting warrant and to close it at 4:30 p.m. on October 15th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, now we're moving, is it 7:05? Yep. Appointments. We have an appointment. Mike, you want to
Thank
make
you,
it?
Madam Chair. In your packet is a letter from Chief Barrett in regard to an appointment. Recently, the department had the retirement of a full-time firefighter, Paul Shaw. The department posted the open position in-house and received 4 qualified candidates from our call department. We held interviews where they answered questions, as well as an assessment portion where they had scenario-based questions. EMS coordinator Brian Palomino and I held the interviews, and after reviewing all the information, we were able to come to a unanimous decision that Tim Smith is our recommendation. I don't know if the chief was gonna come up.
Yep.
He already has.
There he is.
To talk a little bit about his background. So I'll turn it over to you, chief.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so first off, we just want to give a quick thank you to Paul Shaw. 28 years of service to the town of Millis, retired. We're hoping to have him here at a future board meeting to be coached. We are here tonight to appoint Tim Smith as a full-time firefighter paramedic. Again, this isn't a new position. This is filling a retired position. Tim is a 2022 graduate of Westfield State University. He's currently enrolled at Pro EMS to get his paramedic, which he's set to finish up about December, some testing, and we hope to have him working as a paramedic with under a year. With this appointment, he has 2 years to get it to meet the requirement, and we're hoping to have him done a little bit quicker. Tim's a 3rd generation firefighter. His grandfather, George, who was a firefighter, he was actually chief for a small period of time. And his father, Dan, who was a sergeant on the Franklin Police Department, was also a Paul firefighter with us. So it's great to have Tim here. It's a family affair, and we're excited to have it. He has a clean Corey. He's physical is up to date. So we are here tonight to recommend appointment.
So, Madam Chair,
Yep.
upon the recommendation of the fire chief, I am requesting that the board ratify my appointment of Timothy Smith as a full-time firefighter EMT, subject to obtaining a paramedic certification within 2 years of appointment.
Okay, Aaron?
I move to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Timothy Smith as a full-time firefighter EMT, subject to obtaining a paramedic certification within 2 years of appointment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Excellent. If it's okay with the board, we'd like to invite Tim up and his grandmother Suzanne Laughlin to pin his badge.
Okay. Sharon, you taking a picture or anything?
Good.
Congratulations.
Okay, what do you got next?
Sure. Madam Chair, in your packet is another letter from Chief Barrett requesting an appointment of a temporary full-time firefighter paramedic, the appointment of Ryan Deasy. So, Chief.
So unfortunately, we have an upcoming medical retirement. Within the next 6 months, we will lose one of our firefighters to an on-the-job injury. What we've done in the past is we've hired a temporary replacement. That person comes in, they work a full-time shift, they learn the system, and then after the position is vacant, we are able to appoint that person to full-time. Ryan was in the interviews for this position, did very well in the interviews. And the assessment center, he's been working part-time helping us fill shifts. We're very excited to actually have him on board as well. So I'm asking tonight that we make him a temporary full-time firefighter until that position is vacant.
Madam Chair, upon the recommendation of the fire chief, I'm requesting that the board ratify my appointment of Ryan Deasy as a temporary full-time firefighter paramedic.
Erin?
I move to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Ryan Deasy as a temporary full-time firefighter paramedic.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations. Ryan. Easy. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Just ask you for a minute. This past week, one of our firefighters was acknowledged at the state level at a fire prevention convention, State Fire Marshal held. Our safe educator, Jason Otis Wilson, was one of the finalists for the position. In our eyes, Otis does the best job in the state. He lost to the Holliston chief, which we think was fixed, and I'll say that now. But Otis does a great job for us. We're very lucky to have him. I figured since he was here tonight, if we could just take a quick second to congratulate him.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. Okay. The next item. I don't see her. Hold on. 7:15, we're good.
There is the mess aspect to this one.
Really? They're leaving? Why? We
You don't want
have
to
such a
stay?
scintillating schedule.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm set.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, just, I know on-call, in case anyone's following along with the agenda, on-call, library assistant appointment is on here. We are holding off on that until October 7th. So just that one.
Okay. We have an item, a licensing authority. You know anything about that?
I do. So.
Rick, when you get out there, can you move?
We'll break downstairs.
Thank you.
Perfect.
He knows the drill.
He does know the drill.
So as the select board, you are considered the local licensing authorities for the ABC, which is the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission here in the state of Massachusetts. And Millis Mobile, right down the street here, does have a license to sell beer and wine. And they just made a few changes, and in order for them to do those changes, you as the LLA have to approve them. So we've gone through all of the paperwork. This is kind of the last piece of the puzzle. They have everything they need. So you are looking to approve them for a change of manager, change of officers, change of corporate name, transfer of stock, as well as change of DBA. So they're going from the licensee name is GMI Gas Incorporated, and they're doing business as Millis Mobile.
Okey dokes. Aaron, you ready?
Yep. I move to approve, acting as the local licensing authority, the request for a change of manager, change of officers, change of corporate name, transfer of stock, and change of DBA for GMI Gas Incorporated, DBA Millis Mobile as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Oh, do we sign?
You do. I don't know how Aaron's gonna do that.
Aaron, can you sign a piece of paper?
When do you need it,
Okay.
Karen?
As long as there are two signatures, we are okay. So,
Okay.
or if you're stop by this week, you can. And I'm just looking at this again, and I apologize. I'm off my game tonight. This was actually a hearing. So you need to vote to open the hearing.
Oh, okay.
If you want to just vote to open the hearing, we will just do that.
I move we
Is
open
anyone-
the hearing.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded to open the hearing. Okay, now do you want me to?
If there is anyone to.
Aye.
Hi, anybody here from Millis Mobile? Nope.
Nope, okay, so then you can.
Anyone here wanted to speak on this issue? No?
Nope.
All
I
right.
move we
Okay,
close
so-
the hearing.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to close the hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we
And
good
you-
now?
and you've made the motion, so you're okay. So we have done it properly. Thank you.
you.
In the minute,
Sorry about
reverse that order a little
Yeah.
bit.
We will reduce the-
Okay, next, we have a request from the Millis Lions Club. So, they'd like to display some artifacts in one of the rooms here at Town Hall, and Mr. Rick Tarara is going to go to the microphone and make a speech.
Those firefighters.
I don't even,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you didn't bring a posse with you either, so.
Well, I have a, Willis Lionel here, that's my coach, John C, he's our secretary.
okay,
My call to you.
Yeah.
Was that I wanted to, see if the Lions, how do I show this first? This is the Millis Lions charter. April 12th, 1945, we started here. So this April 12th,
oh,
2025, we're here 80 years in the town of Millis, serving the town.
wow,
These are the original charters on there, I'd like to get that replaced, but this is an antique type portrait that they put up years ago. I also have another one. This was given by the, the Board of Selectmen in our 50th anniversary, by Muriel Harden, James McCaffrey, I think everybody knows him. And also, Gary Olet. And we know that Gary Olet and Gary passed away, thank you for the service. They gave us that when we reached our 50th goal here in the Millis Lions.
we may have to come up with
I
something for
think we
80,
do.
that's what I'm thinking, that's what
What is that?
it's, I said, I'm thinking that's what you're pitching, we may need to
Oh, yeah.
come up with something for 80.
Look, that's a nice
We'll
one.
start working on it now.
But we've been here, like I say, I've been in the Lions for 30 years and Mike's been in 28, so we're still going. I just wanted to make a comment on this, should get my, mic over here. This is a letter when I was president that we donated the board of directors, table and chairs in room 206. I don't know where that is now. Is that still there?
We just changed it, actually, as a matter of
You
fact.
just changed out the table and
We just
chairs.
changed out the
Yeah.
table and chairs out there.
Yeah,
That's
And
what's
we
gonna-
donated that in 1999. I still have the letters. I have a lot of.
right. Well, I think we got our money on
Last
it.
10 years, that was pretty impressive.
Well, I have a lot of articles and stuff that we would like to put in there, kind of make it like a line. I went to the veterans about 2 weeks ago, and they're all awesome. And I'm sure, God bless their soul, if Cindy was here today, she would say, go for it. Because she's got such an unbelievable display and the wonderful cabinets that I'm sorry, I have to say it, but the Roosevelt put in all around this town hall are great. I mean, the legacy she's put in there about her collection is fantastic. So we just want that little area of 206
Right,
to put some of our paraphernalia in there. This is the party we had at the Primavera at one time, the 50 year. It was a book and all the people who contributed to it.
I just have a quick question, is this a forever installation?
Yeah, I want to put it up there so that when people come up,
Right.
they'll see,
But it doesn't have an end, it's a forever,
yes,
okay,
yes, something that will leave a legacy here. for
Yep.
Lions, which will still serve the town. I hope to serve it many years from now. If I'm still around, but anyway, that's what we're looking for.
Rick, are you looking for just that, so those aren't familiar, room 206,
Yep.
it has the windows that overlook 109, it's the front of the
Right.
building, and then there are built-ins. Cases, glass cases, so are you looking to put the things in the glass cases?
Cases, because we get albums,
Yep.
photos
Yes.
that people like
Agree.
really well. Bill inspector here for years, and everybody who served the town at one time or another. Veterans, we have a lot of veterans for the Lions Club, so all their pictures are being saved by me in my home. And we got the water, vital and everything here would be great to keep that, because I
Yeah.
don't want to be responsible for everything.
and you know, not for nothing, you honored my mother as as the, person of the year. It was the first time you
Yeah.
honored a woman.
Yes, we did, yes.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was a unanimous, let me tell you.
Well, I can't say no.
I'm not gonna say no.
And I believe Erin Underhill is a Lion.
She is.
I am.
So what do we have?
We have a motion.
We have a motion.
You have a motion.
You have a blank there. We just,
Well, you can just strike the last 3, 4.
Yeah. Okay, I move that the board approve the request from the Millis Lions Club to display artifacts relating to the history of the Lions Club in the cases in room 20.
Aaron, 1 second. Go ahead, Rick, sorry.
Where they have the 2 windows in there, and that if we could put our, our photos and everything to be locked up in there, like with a lock, if we put the lock on it. And if we could be guided by somebody here, the building inspector who wants to show us how to decorate it, we'll go whatever they say, we'll go by whatever they say.
What do you mean, put the lock on what?
Well, in other words, put the pictures into that cases with the windows and everything.
Right.
Oh,
Into the built-ins, he's saying.
So
You
you
want
wanna
the
lock-
built-ins to lock.
Right.
Yeah, I think
okay.
that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think that's a
would-
good idea.
Yeah, you just need to get a locksmith.
Yeah, we can figure
Yeah,
that.
we
piece
can
out.
all do it.
Yeah.
You can use the company they use here, who's
Yes,
terrific.
yes. we do the locks.
And that's right, and then you have it.
All right, is that it?
Yeah, I guess that's about it, I mean, so. No, I just brought a couple, I have a lot, but I just.
We'll look at it in the
We'll
room.
look at it. Go again, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Replace this.
No, go
All
ahead.
right. I move that the board approve the request from the Millis Lions Club to display artifacts relating to the history of the Lions Club in the cases in room 206 at the Veterans Memorial Building.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
I have one more.
What do you got?
The Field of Flags is we do every year, which we give the donations to the Fisher House.
To the what house?
The Fisher House in Boston, which they help wounded officers or veterans, and when they have no place to stay, they stay there for free.
Okay.
So everybody gives to the Fisher House. Karen knows about this. And so the Field of Flags, we usually do it for 2 weeks. We sell you sponsor a flag for $10, and we take that flag. I sponsor 4 flags for family members with killed in wars. I sponsor 4, and you don't have to be a KIA. There could be your father, your mother, your sister.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, as long as they're a veteran. You donate the $10, we take a flag. Wanted to have the display from the 3rd
Of what?
of November
November.
Yeah,
to the 20th.
so that's 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yes, instead of the 2.
Okay.
This way, to give a little more to it, and then it'll be during the actually during the election time, plus past the Veterans Day, and then keep it up there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
If
I
that's
think
okay.
the only reason we typically do 2 is because the lawn needs mowing.
Oh.
And so that's why they do, but I would think by November, the lawn is not
Right.
gonna be growing, so 3 weeks would be totally fine, but I think that's where the 2 weeks had always come from.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes us about 2.5 hours. Just to
For
I was just gonna say, it
flag
takes
displays,
you-
not this one.
It takes you a week to put them in and a week to take them out, so.
Second rating. I appreciate it.
Remember the flags, Aaron, how fun that was? Jackson?
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, we got a motion for that, Aaron?
Yes, I move that the board approve installation of a field of flags by the Millis Lions in honor of Veterans Day from November 3rd through the 24th, 2024, on the lawn in front of the Veterans Memorial Building.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, thanks, Rick. Good luck with everything.
You.
Okay, what do we got now here?
She's here, I see her.
We have that, 7:30,
Kirsten Ryan.
we have a minute.
It's not a hearing, so.
It's not a hearing.
You can go ahead.
Okay,
Jump right in.
jump right in. We want to review the proposed article. Do we have somebody here?
Yes, Kirsten's on Zoom.
On Zoom.
Oh,
Hi. Hi, everybody.
There she is.
Hi.
Kirsten.
Thanks. Okay.
We're on time, we're ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
imagine that.
you want me to wait or?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I have just a very short presentation to orient everyone here. Let me just
Joy.
get situated. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, multiple screens.
it's okay.
Saying that.
Screen 2. Okay. No, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Yep, we can see it.
I think that was
Oh,
like,
sorry.
hold on one sec.
I
That's
didn't know if you thought we couldn't see it.
okay. Can you see it like full presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. Wasn't sure.
Oh,
Okay.
It's exciting.
I'm here to I'm Kirsten Ryan from Kleinfelder, and here to talk about the water management bylaw revision that we've been working on with Gudzinski and Mr. McKay and others. Let me get right into it. So Millis, if folks are not aware, Millis has a water management bylaw already, an existing one. It was adopted in 2000, and it's section Article 8, Section 38 of the general bylaws. And the purpose, as excerpted here, is to protect public health, safety, welfare by allowing the town to restrict water use. It's essentially a water conservation bylaw. And it, ties back to declaring a state of water supply conservation by the town, or if Mass DEP issues a state of water supply emergency. So why is a revision needed? Well, just to kind of set the stage, large public water well supply withdrawals are regulated by the State Water Management Act, or Mass General Law, Chapter 21G, and this governs the sustainable use of the state's water resources. Millis has had a WMA permit since 1989 for its water supply wells, and Mass DEP undergoes a periodic review of those permits and issues revisions. And they recently reissued Millis's permit. Basically, they've been going around reviewing all the WMA permits to update them to incorporate regulation changes that were enacted in 2014. So it's taken them quite a while, but they finally came around to Millis and issued a permit in December 2023. So we went and took a look at that permit and consulted with Jim McKay and Mike Gudzinski and talked about the changes that are required. Basically, there's two major things that the new permit requires to align with the new regulations, basically just to get it up to date with the existing regulations. And that is updates to the bylaw, and then the adoption of some additional water conservation measures to align with water conservation standards. So we've gotten together recently. Sort of our process was to take the existing bylaw, compare it to what the requirements are, develop a red line version, and then we reviewed that with the DPW and the town administrator and discussed it with them. And then I think Jay Tallerman, town council, is also reviewing it. I don't know if he's completed his review yet, but I know that's part of this process. So just a brief summary of what the changes are required. Basically, greater restrictions on non-essential seasonal outdoor water use, more or less watering lawns. The existing bylaw has a provision that allows for odd, even watering during the state of water supply conservation, which allows up to 3 to 4 days per week, depending on the week. But the new requirements will restrict that further. So that had to be incorporated. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in 1 second. And then aligning the language of the existing bylaw more in line with the Mass DEP model water conservation bylaw in terms of some definitions and just some of the specific language, mostly minor. And then lastly, it required incorporating a provision to encourage proper installation and efficient operation of automatic sprinkler systems. So the WMA permit provided a few options to accomplish that. And we sat down with, as I said, the stakeholders there in town and talked about which might be more feasible. And I can go into that in a little more detail. But we drafted a proposed provision for that, which I'll get to. So that first major change, the seasonal non-essential outdoor water use restrictions. I don't expect you to read this little chart over here. It's complicated in a couple words. That is a snapshot that came from the new Water Management Act permit. And, depending on the time of year, I don't want to get into the details of it, but that's essentially what restricts to less days a week, the maximum of 2 days per week when these conservation restrictions are in place. And this is all kind of going back to the Charles River Basin is more stressed in terms of groundwater withdrawals and usage. So this is what the new state regulations require. Okay. And here's just kind of another snapshot of what Millis put into place this year, trying to comply with this. As I said, the permit came out in December. The permit actually required Millis to adopt these bylaw changes by May 1st, which really just wasn't feasible. So we asked DEP for an extension to try to work with this and get it into the November town meeting instead of May town or spring town meeting. And they provided that extension. So that's why we're here. Let's see. But Millis did proactively go ahead and put the new more stringent restrictions out there this summer.
Can I ask a question about that real quick?
Mhm.
We ran into an issue a few years ago where our town fields weren't being watered because of the water restrictions, and we ended up spending $30,000 starting over again on all of our fields. Would the town fields fall into that? Always allowed, it mentions golf courses and other items that are, business driven. We'd have to make sure that our town fields are allowed to be watered. Otherwise, we're going to have a huge issue if there's a drought. We can't afford to spend $30,000 a year fixing them after they fall apart.
Yeah, I believe they do. I will have to check that.
These are fields owned by the town and the school and used for recreational purposes by the community,
Yeah.
Year round.
Just trying to look at the permit really quick to see if I can answer your question.
I mean, I would think possibly into that core business function, if you're exempting golf courses where they're charging a
Right.
fee to do
I
it.
would say so.
Yeah, and that's our core business of our rec department. We're not charging a fee to people
Yeah.
who use it. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think
that is in the
argument
permit.
is
Yeah.
Are you still seeing my screen over here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, the not subject to restrictions include meet the core business. Yeah, like you said.
I think that falls on our fields.
I mean, yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd argue that as well.
Okay, good.
Okay, where was I? Okay, there's my screen. Okay, so the changes as I mentioned, aligning language of Mass DEP model bylaw with some new definitions. Another change that was not strictly speaking required, but we proposed to include was the original bylaw or the existing bylaw, the authority rests solely with the select board. Sometimes that can take a while if you don't have meetings regularly in the summer, like, I mean, you don't meet, I think you meet monthly in the summer. One revision that we suggested including, which was in the model bylaw as an optional, was to allow the DPW to act if it's a matter of permit compliance. So the select board still would have the authority to enact restrictions for whatever reason they deemed fit, if it was a public safety, public health concern. But if there was, you know, for example, the river gauge in the Charles dropped rapidly and you were going to be out of compliance with the permit if you didn't, you know, change the restrictions quickly, that is proposed in the new bylaw that we discussed along with Mike and Jim and Dave.
I think it makes
You okay with
sense.
that?
Yeah, I think it makes
Yeah.
sense. It
Okay.
avoids the need for an emergency meeting of the board in the middle of the summer should
So we would put that.
be triggered.
Forbid.
Yeah, just gives you authority to do what you need to do anyway, quickly.
Okay.
Great. And then the last thing I mentioned was this provision to encourage proper installation and efficient operation of sprinkler systems, automatic sprinkler systems. So there was several options listed in the permit that you could choose from. And we talked these through, as I said in our meeting. This one that you see here, topsoil preservation, seemed to be the most feasible to implement without too much, you know, effort. The others included things like registering all auto irrigation systems, minimizing high water use landscaping, which is pretty nebulous, and it would be a little bit tough, I think, to people to how do you define that? Restrictions on land clearing and lawn size. So this one here to require all new construction to have a minimum of 6 inches of topsoil preserved or restored to the site, you know, wherever there's going to be turf, seems to be the easiest one to implement. And that is pretty much all I have. So as I mentioned, the goal is to have this voted on at town meeting in November. Any discussion?
What is that?
This is listed in one of the bullet points.
As an article.
Yeah, but does that 6 inches of topsoil, does that get pushed over to the building department, and how does that get,
Yeah.
how do we know that? How does a person know that? Cause they're not gonna get that reg.
Mike, I don't recall exactly what we discussed in terms of the mechanisms or.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that with the staff here to determine the best way to make sure that's enforced
Okay.
during construction.
okay. Okay,
Okay.
any questions? Fred?
I'm good.
Erin, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounded to me like all of it is required, except that one thing that you said was not required. So if it's required, I don't think we have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
In discussing this with the DPW director and with, you know, our folks at Kleinfelder, I think we felt that this was the least difficult way to move forward with this, and would be, I think, the easiest for us to move forward with without really making it difficult for the property owners to still, you
Okay.
know,
I like
maintain
that.
their property as best they can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Craig had a good question that would come up
What?
The field.
about
Yeah.
the field.
Field.
That will, and it may come up at town meeting, so that's a good, yeah,
Okay, so
We go, we can go.
do we have
exactly.
we don't have a motion.
No.
We
No.
just,
There is
Nope,
no
this is
motion.
just
I guess
an
we're good.
overview.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
good
night.
night. Okay, so the dog park, we're 5 minutes late.
Out of here, it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to get on schedule and apparently it
I
doesn't matter.
understand.
Okay,
Well, this one should get.
dog park people.
Yeah, so Madam Chair, the whole purpose of this is just to refer this
Yeah,
back to the
I know.
planning board as part of the process, but we did invite them to come in to just give us a little background as to what they're actually looking for.
Okay,
Good evening, I'm Matthew Watsky here as counsel.
I'm David Lapp, I'm the individual trying to open the private dog.
I'm not sure how much of a detailed presentation you want to have. We've met with the planning board that was on August 6th and September 10th and laid out the ask. David has a concept for a new kind of a business that had been contemplated before. And he's got the perfect place for it, located in your industrial district. And there's simply no provision in your current zoning bylaw that would allow this kind of a business use. And so the simple, really narrow change that we're proposing and that the planning board has recommended unanimously that you refer back to them to adopt the bylaw is inserting a new definition of the term private dog park and then changing or adding a use in the industrial district to say that it's a permissible use by special permit. And it's very, very so narrowly crafted to allow this specific kind of thing in this building. I suppose it's possible that there may be another building that would have enough area in it that a similar business could go in, but David has identified this as something where there's a real demand. It's a growing the kind of business that's now spreading around the country, but this would happen to be only the second one in all of them. Would you like to have David sort of give you a quick review of what a private dog park actually is?
Sure.
sure, here.
Sure. All right, so quite simply, the easiest explanation of a private dog park is like a gym for dogs. We pay a monthly fee, we go to the gym, we work out, we leave. Very similar with the private dog park. The difference here is that there's a social aspect to it. The social aspect is that the dogs be social with each other. It's a monitored park. So what I mean by monitors, it means that there are experts in dog behavior to keep people and other dogs safe because they are animals, right? So do
Which the people of the,
I saw that coming.
you saw that coming, right?
Yeah.
you want my opinion on
That
that?
was a setup, right there. Go ahead.
I have some opinions on that. However, dogs are actually very good communicators, so when something is awry, somebody that is trained in dog behavior will know it well in advance. So that is the advantage of having a private dog park versus a public dog park that is not monitored. The other aspect to this is that it's also a social experience for people. There'll be coffee, there's a beer garden involved here, with some beer and wine on tap and other beverages. Food trucks, it's not a restaurant, it's not a full service restaurant. In fact, the definition specifically says it's not, and nor should it be. So there will be food trucks available, and those are rotating in and out through any truck that's already approved with the Board of Health within the town of Millis. The advantage here is several things. One, it's indoors and outdoors. And if you have a dog and it's 10 degrees outside, or it's raining, or it's snowing, or it's sleeting, raining, those are not fun experiences or pleasant to be out in. This is an indoor park, so dogs can run, get their energy out, have a great time. The tired pup is a happy pup. And then on top of that, the owners are happy too, because they're dry, they're warm, and they get to have a beer with the dog playing. Or a glass of wine, or a beverage of some sort that is appropriate. That's really it in a nutshell. It's rather simple. I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it. It's complex to run, but the concept is not too much or this complex.
Okay.
There'll also be grooming services. I'm a dog trainer, so we'll be doing training services. There's dog daycares there's 9,000 dogs within 5 miles. So
Okay, I have a million
Yeah.
questions, but you go.
Go ahead, I've got no questions.
Get out.
Not yet.
Okay.
I care about water in the fields.
there's an existing building on the property, correct?
There is,
In which you're going to utilize.
correct.
How many square feet?
It's 10,000 square feet.
It's 10,000, just one big wide open?
There's some office spaces.
Yeah.
So technically it's 13,000 square feet, but from a real estate perspective, it's 10,000.
Okay,
Right, so there's some offices, and over those offices, some lofted space. I
okay,
don't know how much that's gonna survive my renovation.
yeah,
But it is a 10,000 square foot, indoor
Okay.
space, about 8,000 square feet at least will be used for the dogs.
Okay.
And then fenced in areas for the outside is probably gonna be somewhere in the range of 20 to 25,000 square feet,
25, how big is the lot?
an acre and a half.
The lot's an acre and a half, which is about 60,000 square feet. If my math is right. 10,000 to the building. Is it wet there? No.
No.
So you're gonna have 25,000 square feet fenced in outside.
Maybe a little less.
Okay, I mean,
I have
I'm
a
not,
preliminary plan, if you'd like to see it at some point. But it's very.
I think I saw your thing. Okay. And so, and what kind of fencing are we talking about? Chain link fence?
You know what, I don't know, but
You
it's
don't
going to
know.
be like a higher fence, some
Okay.
stockade of some sort. But the exact type of fencing, I don't have an answer to
Okay.
that yet, but it's going to be higher, it's not gonna be something low that dogs.
Okay. And what kind of, is there a paved parking lot?
There will,
There will be.
there will.
Okay,
There is partially now,
yeah.
but it's in severe disrepair, so I'm
Okay.
going to fix that.
And the food trucks, just, they'll come and go, whatever, that's fine. You'll maybe have some, I don't know, picnic tables outside?
There'll be some picnic tables
Okay.
inside and outside, it'll be just places to sit, it'll be
Okay.
a comfortable, fun space. It is a park, right? So, and it's going to feel like a park, only part of the park
Right.
will be indoors.
And, but you're only gonna provide, drinks. When I say you, I mean, inside, you're gonna have a bar, you don't have a kitchen inside.
No,
Okay.
No.
So it's drinks.
Yeah.
Beer, wine, soda, water. Is there mixed drinks?
and coffee, no, it's not.
No
not-
vodka tonics?
Nope,
Okay. Just.
not yet.
Not yet? Well, wait, I'm not,
I don't plan on that, but,
okay.
dog, do you?
you know.
I don't have a dog.
Yes.
When you open the cat park, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You do not need to have a dog to come.
Oh, you don't need a dog to come.
You know.
Yeah.
A dog needs a human to come.
Yeah.
Listen, I love the whole thing of it. Whether it's gonna work or not, that's your problem, not mine. The only thing that concerns me, I only have one concern, really. Your outside space and noise. Dogs bark.
Mhm.
The best behaved, the worst, but they bark. There are a lot of, houses around you. You're surrounded. There's gonna be, right before you, on the same side, is gonna be a big housing project. Right behind, after you, I know where you are. You're in, are you buying the property, by the way, or leasing? it?
Yes.
Bad part.
From Babfar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you go a little bit further, there's gonna be another subdivision with housing. You've got Farm Street right behind you. Dog barks. It can be 10 miles away and it's like it's in your backyard. You've got Cedar Street, big development. That's my only concern.
So indoors will not be an issue.
I would hope not.
My experience has been.
Yeah.
I have traveled across the country to different dog parks, very similar business models all over the country. DC area, I've been down south, I've been out west. Part of my research on this entire business model was to go to see these places. And there's also another one in Everett, right?
Yeah.
Park 9, it's the only other one in New England.
Tell me
It's
something.
shocking how little barking there is. And usually the barking is throughout from like one dog. Maybe
Okay,
one dog that starts it, and maybe another one responds, but it's not as noisy as you would expect. Now, I'm gonna be honest, that surprised me. I thought there'd be more barking.
okay.
But a well-behaved dog that's having fun, barking just usually doesn't come into play. Dogs don't communicate verbally. Dogs communicate through body language.
What do you think your hours, can I
That
just,
was my question. There you go. You took my one question.
what do you think what are you thinking your hours are gonna be?
During the week, probably 7 to 9.
7 AM to 9 PM.
Yep,
And what about weekends?
weekends maybe 9 to 10.
Okay. What happens if they do, what do we do if we put a condition on that they can't be?
Well,
Yeah, Bob.
Madam Chair, just adding to.
It's not me.
You are the LLA, you are the local
I get
licensing authority for the alcohol piece of it, so you can for the wine and malt piece of it, say you could only serve until 8 o'clock at night.
Not worried about the people.
No, well, the people come the dogs, right? So I'm saying you will have some control over
Yeah.
that piece of it still beyond what's happening here.
But
So
And there are noise ordinances too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if they're parking at 9 or 9:30 at night, you could have a hearing and reduce those hours.
Right, that you wanted to, end it, whatever.
So if I.
Go, you may.
It's not, the way the bylaw amendment is proposed, it's not an as of right use, it's a special permit use.
Yep.
And so the special permit granting authority
They can put a condition.
will, we expect,
Exactly.
put conditions on it that will limit the potential.
I get it.
and noise. And so I would expect that if it turned out that there were real problems with noise outside, that the permit would require that you not use the outdoor space, after a certain hour.
Yeah.
That you open up the indoor and you have all the dogs
Yeah.
playing inside after a certain hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And we,
Indoor space is limited, so.
and one of our biggest complaints is the noise from pickleball, so we're hypersensitive.
So maybe they're.
Noise.
Joyce, Woodard, 206 Street. I'm giggling because my daughter has play dates with her dog, has play dates with the neighborhood dogs. She's married, kids, so it's now just getting bigger and bigger as far as these play dates. My concern would be the noise factor. Pickleball created, I mean, they had to put noise barriers up and everything. They're not, it's in a neighborhood. They're not allowed to play, they can play until 8 o'clock and then that's it.
Yeah.
Lights are off, because of the neighbors' complaints. I think I'm probably giving you information so that you're aware of, because sometimes you're not aware of the things go on in the town and also the concerns. The other thing that I would be concerned about is serving alcohol, but not having food in the establishment, because then you're not only monitoring the dogs, but you're monitoring the people. And, as good as you can do, I mean, even if you've got a ban for 2 drink minimum, they've got, they can go get a drink.
Or maximum.
Yeah, thank you, 2 drink maximum, so they're with other people, who maybe one is drinking and the other, I mean, there's always ways to get around it, but my concern is not that, I think it's great having food trucks. But the alcohol issue would be a concern to me. And my other thing is the behavior of dogs. Yeah, they're great, but who's gonna monitor those dogs as far as, I've gone to dog parks, outside dog parks with my daughter's in-laws who have dogs and my daughter. And there's always a dog that ends up attacking her dog.
Okay, I can address several of these pieces.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah,
I can
it's
address
just secret.
So, yes. So thank you very much. I can actually address virtually all of that. The food piece of it is a restaurant, that's not a restaurant, let's be clear, but just as a restaurant, right? Like a restaurant would be, you have food offerings, right? And it's the same thing when somebody sits at a bar in a restaurant. You can force them to order food or not, right? It's really
Agreed.
no difference, and I'm not serving any hard alcohol, right? So the alcohol volume is going to be less. From the noise perspective, maybe that's addressing partly for the fence, right? It could be a noise baffling fence,
Yeah.
Could be.
right?
We put our pickleball courts.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
And as far as the behavior of the dogs go, as I mentioned, it is a monitored park. These are trained individuals that understand dog
I get
behavior. The dog does not get a membership without an evaluation. Some of this is actually just the same as a doggy daycare is, right? So, they're all required to have certain amount of shots, inoculations, they have to have, and literally, there's a system that tracks the health of these dogs and the shots that they're up to date on shots and everything else, you gotta
Yeah.
prove that. So from a health perspective, that is This is not even policy, this is the law, so I have to follow that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm not-
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that at all.
Listen, I'm not,
The key, I thought, was the behavioral analysis of the dog,
Right.
or the behavioral review before the dog is allowed to become a member
Right.
of this facility. So it's not
I
the
would
same as a
totally feel
public
that.
park where anybody brings a dog. You're only allowing dogs
Right.
that you have actually met and reviewed and.
Yeah.
listen, I don't question your enthusiasm or your methodology. I don't. If you're gonna do something like this, I'm sure you vetted it way better than me. But I just do wanna say that you're not in an industrial park. I mean, it may seem like it, but there's houses and they're going, you don't see them yet.
Yeah.
But there's gonna be a development right after you pass the bowling alley.
Right.
That whole corner leading up to you. And then right after you, you can see the construction going on. They're gonna be two communities. Stacked communities, noise rises. That's all. And then behind you, there's already established one, and then there's another established one. So putting you on notice, I'm sure you'll take care of it
Yeah.
and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think we refer, yeah.
Yeah, so Aaron, you still with us? Do we have, is there a
You're
motion?
muted. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay,
here.
wake up.
Yes, I'm here. I move that the board refer the proposed private dog park zoning bylaw amendments to the planning board for a public hearing at their October 8th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Very good, thank you.
you're good.
Good luck to you.
Have fun out there.
Very nice. Good line.
And we don't need a dog.
Yeah, I can get one.
Okay, next,
Pretty well tested.
next, we got,
So full disclosure, the original agenda, I had Mr. Cannon speaking to both the.
I know you did.
As well as this,
I know
and
you
he
did.
emailed and said,
That's fine.
not for nothing, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, we got some,
I said,
all right, we got some in and hope,
so
some
sorry
zoning.
about that.
Go ahead, Ted.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Ted Cannon on behalf of the petitioner, CNA Partners, I'm with Michael Chase, out of the ownership group. This is it concerns the CV2 district only, the NO complex. And we appeared for the planning board to request some changes to the zoning to expand some of the opportunities there, because frankly, it's been a struggle. It's a unique structure. There are challenges, and all of the suggestions that we have made are to take some of the no's and convert them to special permit planning board. Because when potential applicant or tenants see no, they just say, I'm not going through it, I'm not spending the time. But if it's a special permit with conditions, then, okay, give that a shot. So that's kind of where we are. While we were in this process, a very unique opportunity presented itself, which was kind of a catalyst, which is someone who wants to really develop some artisan space offices to encourage artists to come to work on their craft. And then part of what we're asking is a change to the definition, which the planning board suggested, but also a provision to use regulations to allow periodically the owner to come and petition this board with a sort of rudimentary plan, so not really a special permit, but to ask permission to have events. What are your hours going to be? How many people are going to be there? Do you want to serve alcohol? But to allow the artisans to showcase what they're working on, have gallery space, potentially purchase artwork, maybe serve wine and cheese along the way. Those kinds, maybe have some music. Those opportunities would be rare, but would come to this board for permission to do that. And so that's really why we're here. We met with enthusiasm at the planning board. I know we're going to take you through each of the changes.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Because I need to, I appreciate that you're here, and I know that this board, that the way it's set up is that you go to the planning board kicks it over to here, and we're supposed to just kick it back to them to whatever, but I'm not going to do that. Because I don't know if you know the history. I know you know the history. I don't know, Ted, if you know the history, but I'm just gonna give you a little brief history, what this property is. 20 or some odd years ago, I don't know the exact date, under your predecessor, Aspinwall, the town commissioned a study to what to do with your land, which I thought was hilarious because it was your land. Why do we care? But apparently we did. So the study comes in and it says that the best use for the town, now I know what you might think is best and what we think is best may not merge. But what the study came out and said was, this is the center of town, this is the center of our town, right? And what it proposed was a mixed-use development. They wanted some housing, they wanted some office, they wanted some retail, a little mix of everything. And so, with that, the town, created zoning and went to town meeting. Now, I was at that town meeting. I don't know if you were there, but somebody was there because you were not happy. Your family was not happy with that because we were changing the zoning on you. But we did do that and we changed the zoning and it got passed the town meeting. Now, the reason was because, what's best for the town? Well, it's warehouse. What you have now are warehouses. Since the garden shop left and the linen place left, the retail is gone and it's warehousing in the middle of our town. And we don't think that that's the best. We don't think that's good for the town. So we still don't think that's good for the town. I know I don't. We'll hear from whatever. And this undoes what we did 20-something years ago. And I know that you want to undo that because I really don't. I mean, I want to drill down on a few of these, but you do know that whatever use you had, and it's continuous, it seems to be continuous, you still have, right? Your grandfathered. I mean, I don't,
Certain uses.
for certain uses, your grandfather. So you want to go back. So, I mean, I know people can't see, but we're looking at your zoning changes and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you have to really you didn't say what they were. So you got to go into the zoning bylaw, you got to see what they are, and then you got to see what you want. Well, right away, the artisanal and craft maker space, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
Right. I think that, I was at that meeting 20 years ago. I think that was one of the type things that made sense.
I don't think it seems to be, I mean, I don't know if people are gonna be there working, all I can think of is the movie Ghost. Are they gonna be there working on their pottery and then they put it in the kiln and then they wanna put it for sale later? Is that what we're talking about?
It would be space for them to create, it would include the definition gallery space.
Yep.
So people
Yeah.
so they could
Yep.
display it, people
Yeah.
could visit and watch it.
Yep,
We included retail sales, so they would have
Yep.
the opportunity to support themselves.
Yeah.
yep,
So that's there. And then the, outside of the use table, the, paragraph to the use regulation had the provision to allow events. Here.
yeah, the events thing, I mean, I don't know if events thing, if somebody wants to do like in this town or any town, if you want to do like a town sometime, do a townwide yacht sale.
Yeah.
So they come and they get a special one day.
If it's permitted already, then that's fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I don't-
It was kind of quick.
I don't see anything with that. I don't see anything with the artisanal piece.
Sure.
You have, in the outdoor sales, I don't see anything. A drive-up window, I see that's 4A. You want to add a drive-up window
Well,
in case you get a McDonald's or a
well,
got
Wendy's? We do have one. Well,
Yeah.
restaurants.
Right. I have,
CVS or Walgreens.
I have no problem, honestly, this is just me.
Yep.
Drive-up window makes sense. It's the rest of it that I don't like any of it. I don't like the light manufacturing. I don't like construction industry with wholesale suppliers outside. I don't like construction materials for retail suppliers. I don't like the wholesale trade and distribution, which is warehousing, which I think is grandfathered. And then you have outdoor storage. I'm gonna make this less whatever, because I think this leads into a larger zoning conversation. I know that the planning board has wanted to look at our zoning bylaw for a long time. And this piece is a big piece of it. So I happened to talk to the planning board, and we're going to use this as a jumping off spot and take a look at our zoning bylaw and see what we're willing to do for that area and some others. And not kick this back. I'm gonna take it under advisement. That's my suggestion to the board. This is something, we have a huge industrial district in Millis. I mean, it's half of 109. If you were there, this would be a no-brainer. Down by the Colt building, which you are familiar with. Thank you for the landscaping, by the way. They finally took care of it. We would have no problem with this dog park they're talking about is in our industrially area. Unfortunately for you, or fortunately, one or the other, you're right smack in the middle of downtown. All I can see are tractor trailer trucks, which we don't have enough problems with 109. Just we'll go on back and forth, going in, delivering, picking up. With your wholesale sales and your outdoor storage, that's industrial park stuff in my book.
So I would just respectfully ask you to consider certain uses within that. So for example, we had outside storage with our garden centers.
Yes, you
I
did.
think it added a lot of value to the town. I wish we were still running them.
So do I.
So we're looking for that.
Yep.
Let's say there's something, you know,
Well, I thought to myself, like a Home Depot.
exactly, but they don't unfortunately want to be here. They want to be right on the highway.
And you don't have to tell me. I tried to lease across the street.
Okay.
I've heard the same story.
But
You don't have traffic count, no traffic count, no traffic.
But what if there was a smaller operation that was willing to be local and they wanted to have some materials outside? If, you know, I know we had a garden center in
Yeah.
a particular town, they said, that's great. We want you to just screen it a little bit.
Yes,
So that's really what we're thinking about.
I understand, but if you put this in, it could be just a materials yard. I have a materials yard down at the industrial park. It's just a materials yard. I put some blocks up and I have loam there.
Yeah.
If I were to,
Yeah, I think the history over 20 years since the zoning change has demonstrated that it has failed the site. And the town has just done an MBTA housing overlay district right around this site, specifically excluding this site. So we're talking housing at this site, and then to specifically exclude.
Well, wait, I was on that committee, so, yeah. The reason, and we deliberately did that because the MBTA housing restricted us to 2 parking spaces for housing units, nothing for retail. So we thought that'd be the kiss of death for our best retail area in town. So what we would like to do, and this is what the plan, this came out of that conversation, expand the, the Millis overlay district, it's something. It's
Yes.
what we have over by the library. Where it's housing up above, retail down below, but then we're allowed to put in adequate parking. We're allowed to do what we need to do to make it work. So we have a desire to have this be an overlay district with housing and with, at least a lot of us do, with housing and commercial. And the MBTA wasn't going to allow that. It would restrict us on parking, the amount of square foot for retail. It just didn't make sense. We didn't think it would ever be developed with that. So by putting housing directly behind it and housing up the hill from it, we thought it'd become more attractive for commercial. So if we extend that district down to that area, it might actually have a chance to be something other than what we envision here with trucks and other things. It is the heart of the downtown. It's our only commercial area.
With all of the no's on the use table, that's why you're seeing, you're only seeing what's grandfathered in. So I would ask that you not throw the baby out with the bathwater. For example,
Agreed.
the artisanal opportunity is just that.
Yeah.
And if we miss this opportunity, maybe we'll have to move on to another place.
Right.
So I think it's a great opportunity for the town.
And I agree with I agree with that one, absolutely. And I think that the point is we'd like to do the larger study with it, see what we come up with, is our view at least here. But if there is an opportunity for the artisanal craft
you
maker
have-
space right now,
I would just suggest, irrespective of whatever the decision is
Yeah.
by this board,
Yeah.
I would ask that you definitely approve that going to the planning
Yeah.
board and then to the town, because we are currently
I
talking.
would agree, I would agree with that one,
And
because I
they'll
think that's the direction we
They'll,
want to
they'll
go.
walk. if
Yeah.
you go.
Okay.
That's the direction we want to go.
If there's any others, and again, these are all being asked not by right, but by
I know,
Right.
I get it.
just, and as you know, the planning board has broad discretion.
I know.
So, word can spread around that this is not the kind of use that we want. But if it fits, and if it expands the opportunities that aren't there now, then it would be great to have that opportunity, have the planning board oversight and condition it appropriately. So we're getting away from the trucks and getting more into this opportunities like this. That's really what's here, and that's why you see the trucks. So, we would gratefully accept as many of the special permit opportunities as you.
The other.
Yeah.
So we use, do you know James Stubblebine, broker, Stubblebine Company?
No.
And, he'll have companies that come to him from time to time. And it may be uses that you would like in the town, but we can't even submit it because when they see the end on, and it's a definite no, they're like, well, we're not gonna wait and we're not gonna put money into it. And you probably, you probably know how that works also, and.
Well, I don't know what kind of give me a for instance. I hear through the grapevine that you're a tough negotiator.
Me personally, I think you might be referring to my father.
I know, I remember your father, by the way, very fondly.
Yeah, thank you.
He and my mother were pretty close, actually. He was
I
very
know he
good,
spoke highly of your
he
father.
was very good to my mother and to this town. But what uses are you, like, give me a for instance.
I just know from time to time, people have gone to James and said, we have an interest in the site. You mentioned there was a manufacturing company one time, not one that is like really noisy with pollution or anything, but they were technically manufacturing. We couldn't present it to them. We were their top choice. So we don't want to force it upon the town and say, oh, it's a definite yes, and we're going to try to. So we're just proposing by special permit to leave the power up to the town.
I get
But
that.
we can't,
I do.
they just walk.
Listen, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'll tell you that
Yeah.
I just don't see, that's not the place for light manufacturing. It's
Yeah.
just, in my book.
I would suggest we push it back to the planning board with at least the artisanal space
We can do the,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
and-
mind the
or
artisanal.
the drive up
I don't
window.
mind the drive up window. And we're not gonna, listen, I'm not gonna drag you out forever. I'm a person that
Yeah, well,
does things, And so we will meet with the planning board. If I invite you in, I'll invite you in, and we'll take a closer look at, what we're willing to do there.
but we can refer back with those too. Is
Yeah.
item number 6 on principal uses,
Well, it's
when I'm looking at the table,
the table would be, I don't even see the
if you
artist.
go to the next.
Oh, it's this one right
Yeah.
here.
That's inserted as item number 43.
It'd be new.
Yeah, that's
So-
a new item 43,
so-
that piece, I think.
So
is
you
great.
can, well, refer back to the planning board, we can refer back, 1, 2, and 1 and 2,
Off
right?
their master sheet, okay.
Because those are, I don't know why 43.
That's the table line.
Oh, just the table,
Yeah.
so I don't mind that. You don't need the outdoor sales periodically, I don't even know what that means, because you don't just put in something that says outdoor sales periodically, I mean, I don't know what that looks like.
So that was not the table. That
I know, it's just a new section H.
Right, that was if they wanted to have events and the outdoor sales, and this is under for the artisans. If they wanted to be able to have an outdoor event with music.
I can speak to that. So for example, in, place, you know, my mom has a summer house in Narragansett. I don't know if you've been there before, and that little area across from the Coast Guard house, they'll sometimes have artists
Okay.
that come there and they have their.
You do
tents.
know this is Millis Route 109.
Yeah, I'm
Just from Narragansett.
definitely not there yet, but the point is, it's a lot of fun. You
Yep.
know, there
I get
artists
that.
are there and so it's just from time to time, those artists, could display their product. I think it would be good for the town. It wouldn't be all the time, and it would be at your discretion.
They would have to come to this board.
Yeah, and I think we'd be open to considering those items when they came before us.
Yeah,
I don't, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know why, Ted, I'm just confused, I don't know why you need this section, in the secret, may, subject to conditions, select board, conduct out pursuant to a
Does
plan,
any
so
of this
every
have to
time
do
you
with
do it,
your-
are you coming?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, does any of this have to do with your, the newest person
Yeah.
who is going over there? Who's planning to
So,
go over there?
I think.
For cider?
This is.
None of this,
This is.
No, this is just the artisan.
no, but I'm saying none of these pieces have to do with that business, from stopping
No.
that business from coming in, correct?
No, it has nothing to do with them, but
Okay,
I
totally
think,
different.
I think they would be fabulous for the town.
They-
I do
they
too.
Will be
Yeah.
fabulous with it.
I do
Yeah,
too.
that was actually one of the items that came up on the list from 20 years ago. It's only taken us 20 years, but we got it.
Yeah,
We'll get
no, I
there.
think that would be fabulous, that's why I'm like, Jesus, any of this have to.
No,
do
I
with
guess
the
my
Patriots stuff.
question,
That
Ted,
coming
is.
in.
May, subject to the select board, outdoor sale, so every time they wanted, this artisan piece wants to do an outdoor sale, they're gonna come with a plan to the select board?
You could call it an outdoor event.
I know, but are they gonna come with
Yes.
the, every single time?
Well, it's,
Then what do you need? You don't need it.
it's only gonna
Anybody can
be
come to it.
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah, and so I don't, Ellen's right, I don't think we need it in there because anybody can approach us to do that on any property they own, so.
Yeah, yeah,
If they own the
If you-
license, they can
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Entertainment permit.
Yeah, fine.
So can we refer it back with items 1, 2, and 40, and table change 43, and whatever the outdoor window is?
four A, the drive up window.
It's, yeah, that's item 6 under retail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I-
those two, I agree to forward back to the planning board, and we will continue the discussion on
The whole
the
parcel,
overall zoning.
the whole, yeah.
And
And that
we'll
should-
have a conversation.
I would expect that by next town meeting would be my hope.
He got a note of the accessory outside storage.
Yes, that is a no to the accessory outside storage.
So
Eric?
just so, yeah. I need to be a little clearer on what I'm motioning. Item 1 and 2 from their list, item 4A from their list, and item 43 from the table.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
You got it,
Okay. All right, here we go.
Hold on.
Item 43 to add to the.
right, to add to the table, add item 43 to the table.
You want
Okay.
Meg to do it, Erin? You
No, I
good?
can do it. It's all right.
I can see it in
Um,
her eyes.
I move that the board refer the proposed Ann and Hope complex zoning bylaw amendments of 1 and 2, 4A, and add item number 43 to the table back to the planning board for a public hearing at their October 8th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
That was awesome.
That was
It's
well
been moved
done.
and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay,
Thank you.
we will,
Yeah, and we'll get the rest of it squared.
we will get it.
Yeah.
We will get it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We will
Thank you
get
for
it.
coming
Thank
in.
you. Okay.
Get it all squared.
So, Madam Chair, the next item, I believe, is the community impact, contract. This is Community Impact, which has been working with us for several years, providing social worker services, funded through the HCA funds. This year, it's funded at an amount of $35,000 over 12 months, so I'm requesting that the board vote to approve the contract, and authorize me to sign it on behalf of the town.
Okay, there's no motion or anything?
Yep, I've got one.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I move that the board approve and authorize the town administrator to sign a contract between the town of Millis and Community Impact Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $35,000 for fiscal year 25.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Next,
Madam Chair, in your packet, you'll see a memo from, Jim McKay, the Director of Public Works, requesting that, the board authorize, me to approve a contract in the amount of $25,000 for line painting with Pavement Markings K5 Corporation. And that, again, that memo is in your packet.
yeah,
Okay. I move that the board approve and authorize the town administrator to sign a contract for line painting with Pavement Markings K5 Corporation through the MAPC for a not to exceed amount of $25,000 for fiscal year 25.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Next,
So, Madam Chair, in your packet, you had an item, listing some of the proposed articles for the fall annual town meeting. This evening, I provided you with an updated copy of that.
Yep.
So I want to just very briefly, go through those items.
Okay.
And see if there's any items that the board may want to add in addition to those at this point. Or if there's any questions or concerns about any of the items currently there.
okay,
So the first item, again, in no particular order, the first item is unpaid bills. We have this at every fall annual town meeting to address any bills that for whatever reason did not get paid for the end of the prior fiscal year. The second item is any needed adjustments to the current fiscal year's operating budget. We don't have really any at this moment, but this leaves that open, and we'll be reviewing that. I did ask the finance director to come this evening in case there's any questions for her on anything as well.
okay,
The next item is capital projects. As the board's aware, the capital planning committee is currently having a series of meetings with boards, committees, department heads, any needed capital projects for funding at the fall town meeting. The next two items are related to the Community Preservation Commission, projects that have been submitted to them for possible funding of the Lansing Millis building project, repair project, and signage for various conservation property in town. The next item is requested by the treasurer collector to accept the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 54B, subsection 1, to allow town trust funds to be invested in accordance with MGL Chapter 203C, the so-called prudent investment rule. And I could certainly, if you have any questions, I know our finance director is also a treasurer.
You're not gonna get rich off the prudent
I
investments.
don't have any questions.
But
Keep going.
You're not gonna lose anything on it either.
The next two items have to do with requests from residents who have an interest in purchasing currently unused town parcels. We'll certainly be discussing that in more detail further on. The next two items have to do with changes to Millis's general bylaws. One having to do with water management, which the board discussed earlier this evening with the Kleinfelder consultant Kirsten. And the other having to do with off-street parking and loading regulations. And then the next one is the one that a lot of towns have been talking about the past year, the multifamily overlay district, otherwise known as the MBTA 3A requirements.
They're coming in a couple of weeks to present.
A week from
this.
today.
A week from today.
Yeah.
So they're coming in to present, and then the planning board will have us.
Yeah, your next meeting's next.
I won't have any questions. After 2 years of attending all the meetings, I have no questions. Jody just speaking.
Okay,
And the planning board is meeting to finalize their decision on that shortly after they present to us
Their meeting is the next evening.
the next night.
Okay.
So,
And so, all right, and the next one is a zoning bylaw amendment having to do with the dog park, which we just discussed this evening. As well as zoning bylaw amendments having to do with, Ann and Hope complex, again, which we just discussed. The next items, several items, we generally put on every town meeting, is the reviewing, putting additional funds into the unemployment fund, the OPEB fund and the stabilization fund. We did have one petition article that came in, which, I think you've all received a copy of.
yes.
I have,
the French version of both.
That's what I said,
Yeah.
it's a show.
that's what the spell check required.
Yeah.
So,
You've switched languages.
Okay,
we have discussed that article with town council, who has
yeah,
basically
Yeah.
said that that article is unenforceable. I mean, town meeting could vote any way they like on it, but it's an unenforceable article. And there's two other items that the board can consider. One, which we've done over the past several years, when funds allowed, is possible additional funds for road construction. So that could be added, as well as putting additional funds into our 111F fund, which is having to do with costs associated with police and fire injured on duty incidents.
yeah,
So those are the items currently there. Certainly, if there are any items that the board feels are missing, should be added for discussion going forward, we can do that. You closed the warrant this evening for this, but again, we're
I know.
Yeah.
in itself,
Yeah.
add and remove articles at any meeting.
After we get a little further down the road, not tonight, but I think the 111F should probably be included, and I think roads should certainly be included, since we're sitting on, what, 3.5 million of free cash?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think there's money for roads.
Okay,
So what I will do is between now and your meeting next Monday, I'll put together, first full draft of a warrant. There may be a few pieces that still need to be filled in, but at least you'll pretty much have the document, for you to review.
And just totally, procedural question. Should they vote the community preservation, Lansing Millis item before the capital project, since it's also included in the capital and he's just paying half? And I'd hate to have it shot down in the capital project. Should it be in the
Oh,
capital
right.
project?
Yeah, I mean, certainly.
Yeah, I just would like to get the funding in the right order.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we can put it in any order that you'd like.
Okay,
You can certainly
that
put
makes
the community preservation ones right before the capital.
Yeah, because then if it fails at community preservation, we won't have
Yeah.
enough money in capital
Right.
projects to do it all.
Absolutely.
And we know what we're doing.
Okay,
All right, and I'll have that draft for you for your next meeting.
Perfect.
okay, what do we got? Next,
Liaison updates.
Liaison updates.
liaison?
So,
That's what it's.
I've been to something, but I can't recall what it is. No, I was at the MBTA meeting, MBTA meeting, yeah.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah, I went to that one. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise. Good, it's a good plan. I think
It's a
you're gonna
good
like
plan.
it. There were a lot of good questions raised and a lot of items were, actually, I will talk about for a moment. There was the concern that we didn't have adequate parking. There is a requirement that you can't have too much parking because they want to be housing, not parking lots. That's the reason we left Ann and Hope out of it. But, the proposal now includes the same as our existing zoning, one parking spot for one bedroom, two parking spots for 2 or more bedrooms, with one additional guest spot for every 8 units in the development. So that gives us that seemed to meet a lot of the needs for it. The setbacks were changed from 12 feet to 20 feet in the back, some items like that.
Yeah, I
It's
remember.
It's minor items, but I think it's mostly taken care of. And the two areas that are being considered as an overlay over at Stony Brook and an overlay at the JF factory. So neither one of those would impact neighborhoods. And it's would clean up those two areas and give some potential for some new development.
Okay. I didn't have anything, I don't think.
I win. Well,
Uh,
maybe not.
Erin, did you have any liaison? Yeah,
I did, I have two. I went to cemetery committee, which is my favorite, and it was nice to be back. And
did they miss me terribly?
they did.
Oh, did they? You hesitated, I'm not
I know,
believing
he's
a
not-
word you said.
Yeah.
We talked about some aesthetic changes, and I think it was section G, and some grooming of a hill next to it, that will kind of bring you down to the next section. So most of it was some discussions of some aesthetic changes and some markers to mark sections off so that people could better find their way. We also, I also went to the Community Preservation Commission. And we talked about, John Stedman had been to our meeting last time to talk about signs for, Millis Town land. And the CPC did authorize 15,000 to go on the warrant for the town meeting for those signs. And then we discussed the Lansing Millis building, and they authorized, I think it was 125,000, which would be matched by us putting in that money with it from capital planning for that effort for roofing and sealing up the exterior. Did I pretty
Yep.
much capture it? Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Is that it?
Nothing? You got nothing?
Well, I was at that
Nope,
meeting,
nope,
but
nope,
that
nope, that
doesn't
didn't
count.
count. Wasn't a quorum.
Didn't count. No, that one was a quorum.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The other
Was.
one wasn't a
There
quorum.
you go.
The other CPC, which we're going to change, I've decided, one of them's just gonna be Preservation Committee, PC.
Well, I think that might be a state designated
Yeah, it
committee.
is.
I don't care.
You gotta
In my mind, listen, I'm chair. It's gonna be Preservation Committee, and then the other one, forget the Community Preservation. We don't need two CPCs. And then the other one will be the Capital Planning Committee. I think we should have planning and preservation.
You can call it whatever you
I'd
want.
just like to add, I'm not a select board member, but since Ellen did not join this piece of the committee for the energy committee, and I stepped into her shoes, I was at.
Doesn't count, Ellen.
So for the
I
energy
wasn't
committee
invited to
today,
that.
she wasn't invited. So anyway, there was a,
Which I'm okay
they
with.
just FYI, the energy committee put out an RFP, looking for a consultant to help us with a climate action plan to help bring Millis to the whole goal of being net zero. As the state has mandated, and we are working towards. And so today I'm part of like a subcommittee.
Yep.
Looking at, so we interviewed two of the teams today. Both went very well, so we are moving forward with that and more to come on that.
And it's free.
And it's free.
Tell
It was with a
people.
grant.
It's with a
Yes.
grant.
I'm always supposed to
Well,
start with that, right?
You
Lead with the grant.
you have to leave with the grant. We're gonna learn
We are very excited, and Millis is very forward thinking on this. We are one of the first communities to jump in. We should be able to get a lot of grant funding as we move forward, because we are one of the premier towns working on this, so that's that.
All right.
Good.
There you go.
Good.
For Ellen.
Okay, good stuff. Minutes, do we do minutes?
Yes.
Two sets of
I move to approve the draft minutes from 9/5/24 and 9/12/24 select board meetings as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
You're up to date in all the minutes.
Yeah.
It's just extraordinary. Okay, we good?
I move to adjourn.
Good.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Oh, that was good. Not as good as you. I'm trying to get a little.
You'll get there, you'll get there.
Okay.
Thanks. I have faith. My kids texting